realtor with Haven Homes at Pearson Smith Realty. Been in business for approximately 7 years and 10 months.
Who's counting?
But who's counting?
But, yeah, not me.
Mm-hmm. All right.
And I'm Tess Harris. I have teamed with Amanda years ago, part-time. And I just jumped into real estate full-time. The end.
The end.
That's a wrap, right?
No, this is just the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Hello. Just kidding. And then what do you guys help your clients with? What is the typical problem that people are coming to you guys for? Maybe they need a solution and you guys have got it.
Well, as it turns out, real estate agents help people buy and sell homes.
What?
Look at that.
I
I'm shook.
know.
That's crazy.
I know.
I didn't even know that was what we did.
And what's even more amazing is that Tess and I are the only two realtors in Northern Virginia.
Oh, perfect.
So we don't even have to try that hard.
How ideal.
Yeah,
How'd you
right?
guys get so lucky? My gosh.
Just come to us, you know?
It's
Our wit and our
we
beautiful
are
personalities,
gifted.
our delicate approach to everything.
I'm demure. You are delicate.
Very delicate.
Mindful
Like
and
a little
demure.
flower.
And now, both of you have unique backgrounds and experiences. How did your paths cross and what inspired you to collaborate in the real estate industry?
Ooh, okay. So my background is in software sales and business development. So I ran a team of 35 business development reps who made cold calls all day, every day. I did it, made phone calls. So the process of follow-up is super important to me and easy because that was my background. I hated it though, so I went into real estate. Met Tess on a transaction several years ago. I think it was 2021, maybe?
Yeah.
22?
It was New Year's of 2022.
Oh yeah, so we'd just gotten through COVID. We could breathe again.
Oh, yeah.
And she repped the buyers, I repped the sellers, and it was just love at first sight. And I spent the next 3 years recruiting her until she finally came to PSR and joined Haven Homes, and now finally full-time.
Yeah, except for what she left out is she didn't, delicately recruit me. She essentially like kidnapped me.
Oh, I love
and
that.
there was a plane propeller that was involved that
What?
brought us together. So on the transaction that we worked together on, we like immediately hit it off over the phone, like we never met. And then there was this gigantic like wooden like plane propeller that they had left at the house. And I was like, dude, do they want this? Because if not, I'm keeping it. And
meanwhile, the clients one was blind.
Oh.
And the other one, I mean, they're both like in their 80s, like on their way out.
Yeah.
And yet had this giant plane propeller.
And that was like, and they had, because of their age and there were health issues during the transaction and stuff. And that was one of the things that I think that for me made it way more comfortable to like even play with the idea of like teaming with Amanda, was because there were these issues that were happening that like we were able to seamlessly work through. And at the end of it, it was New Year's Eve, and because of their age and again like the kind of issues that were happening, we came in and there was still stuff in the house, and it was New Year's Eve, and so I went in and like cleaned.
They cleaned.
Yeah, they did not clean at all. And so I went in and cleaned everything New Year's Eve because I didn't want my clients to go in, to like a messy house or whatever that they just purchased. But they had like these boxes of like, sheets and just kind of like that crap that you would leave and think like, oh, maybe they won't mind throwing it away for me.
Yeah.
And there was this cool airplane propeller. And so that was the only thing that they wanted. And I was driving like a tiny little Kia Niro and like shoved this thing in the back of my Niro. It's like going from my windshield to like the back. And I meet with Amanda the first time and I'm like, got this airplane propeller over my shoulder. We got dinner and
carrying it through the parking lot.
Oh my gosh. Y'all are too much.
And then just hit it off. And then, so then, teamed with her probably like a year later, but like part-time, right? Mm-hmm. And then I've been doing these renovations on a couple of my properties. And so that's like one of the things that was like I needed to finish those before really going into real estate full-time. And I was teaching at the same time and just busy. But learned a lot about houses themselves, which was really cool. And finally just made the leap,
Yeah,
last month.
I love it. Do you still have the propeller?
No, they didn't. They
No,
took
they wanted it back.
Yeah.
What?
I know.
I'm
Rude.
dying
All
to
that?
know
What?
what they did with it.
Probably nothing because it was just in like the side of their office
I know.
anyways.
You're like, we
Along
forgot.
with a stationary bike from like 1943.
Oh my goodness. Okay. I mean, all right. All
It
right.
all works out.
Those people were a hoot.
And then, Amanda, you've been praised for your effective marketing strategies leading to quick sales and multiple offers. Could you share some of your secret ingredients for creating such successful marketing campaigns?
It depends who's the audience.
Finance.
Can't give away all my secrets. No, I'm just kidding. What do I do for marketing? I mean, one of the things that I do is I send a postcard to my neighborhood. I live in a neighborhood in Herndon that is highly desirable for some reason. The houses aren't that nice. They were built in the 70s. We have 7.5-foot ceilings. It's the one thing that I can't change that I wish I could. But people freaking love this neighborhood. And there are many, many examples of multi-generations living in the neighborhood. And they move up or move down, or they split. And, I had one where the husband stayed and I helped the wife buy another house in the neighborhood.
It's a really great community, their neighborhood.
Yeah, it's awesome. So I started sending out a postcard every month that just has, what sold, what is coming up in the neighborhood. And I get a ton of phone calls. And like last night, I got a text message from somebody asking about a property that they heard was coming soon. Done a ton of off-market deals just because I'm consistent in my neighborhood. I'll send out equity letters and be like, hey, it looks like you've got a ton of equity. You should sell. Move somewhere else.
I love that. And I love that you didn't mention like the internet. You said a postcard that you mail out to everybody.
Yeah. And I've done postcards where people wanted, the clients that we did a deal on, they needed one level living because the house that we sold in Leesburg was 2 stories. They needed one because of the wife's mobility issues and blindness. So I sent out postcards to a couple neighborhoods that I knew had primarily main level living. Got a listing out of that. Helped that guy sell. Got another sign call from that. Helped that woman. They actually didn't use me to sell because they were divorcing and her husband wanted to use his friend. She moved to California, hated it, called me, moved back. So she used me when they came back. So it's just putting your face out there and being consistent, but also being genuine. Like in my postcards, not necessarily the neighborhood ones, but if I'm targeting like a particular client, I'll put their names in there. Be like, my amazing client, Sophia, or, Paula and Ben, they love the neighborhood. They want this, that, and the other. Your house fits that. Can we talk about making a deal happen?
Yeah, very personalized. I love that.
It is. And it helps because, Tess and I love what we do so much. Like I would do this job for free. I won't because I have standards, but I would because,
don't get an
that
idea.
But it's so fun. I love it. I love, matching people with the perfect property. I was a professional matchmaker way back in the day.
Were you really?
Yes.
What?
How did you not know
How
that?
did you not tell me that?
Wow, we're finding out some secrets today.
Yeah, we're going to have to take a detour down that experience.
That would be cool.
I think, too, like the best thing about Amanda and the way that she runs her business is that, again, going back to that genuine, right? Like that authenticity. She is who she is and she's good at what she does, and if she doesn't know something, she's going to go out there and she's going to figure it out. And she, like, when things are stressful, like can, tone it down with some humor or also knows how to, like pick and choose, like when to share, like what's stressful or work through it
without telling the clients.
Yeah. Because it's just like with having kids, right? Like sometimes you don't say like, oh, like, grandma's in the hospital and dying. We're just like, oh, like,
that was
because
drastic.
yeah, because you want the only thing I can think of. And, you like kind of like pick and choose, like, okay, is this something that I can handle without giving them additional stress? Because moving is so stressful, whether you're buying or selling, like it just is. There's always something going on. So to be able to reduce that amount of stress with humor or, just, knowing what to share and what not to share or when to share it.
Yeah.
That's, and not like, I'm trying to like rephrase that a little bit because I don't want it to sound like it's secrecy or hiding something, but it's just like knowing like, okay, can I work through all these issues and,
Can I come to a resolution without the
worrying the client?
Yeah, without the client worrying that things are derailing. Because anytime you're in a transaction, whether you're the buyer or the seller, every little thing feels like this major life event that's going to derail the whole thing, and
the world's ending. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like
there's
a
so
final
many
walkthrough. Well,
yeah,
like a final walkthrough, and people are like, how do you turn this light on? How do you do this, that, and the other? Like questions that are good questions. I mean, the buyers want to know, like, why can't I figure out how to turn this light on? It doesn't mean that they're questioning, whether or not they're going to, or whether they're going to follow through with the transaction, but answering those questions for them and not annoying the seller to be like, because that happened once, and I was like, hey, they're asking about this light, and they're asking about that, and they're asking about this, and it's like they're still going to buy the house. Yeah, they just want to know how it works, and that's normal. Yeah, that's totally normal. It's okay. Don't freak out about it.
Please don't. Yeah. I love that. Great answers. Yeah. And now, Tess, what made you take the leap to go full-time into real estate? Like, I know you were part-time, but what happened? What?
Well, I
happened?
Yeah, Amanda happened.
I love that for you.
Right now, though. No, I guess like it's sort of, I don't know, a long story, what's the best way for me to say this? I started getting
the time had come.
I started getting into real estate, actually when I was pregnant with I got my license when I was pregnant with my middle child, and she is 6 now, and I was teaching before that, and then I was like, okay, so like I'll just get my real estate license. People had been telling me that I should, and then I continued to teach for a few years, and then bought these properties that needed like major renovations. And it was sort of like I bought my first property in January of 2021. And then I talked to Jeremy Kendall with Atlantic Coast Mortgage.
Shout out to Jeremy.
Give him a little plug here. He's the best. And I had known him from high school, and he had just started doing mortgages. And so I was talking to him and just sort of learning. And I was like, I set like a 3 to 5 year goal to get an income property. And then 9 months later, I bought 2. And so I found this one property that had 2 dwelling units on it. And it was a little cottage and then a 2-story, like 2,000 square foot detached garage.
Okay. Guess which one she lives in.
Don't tell me the garage.
Yes, girl.
But listen, when I saw the listing pictures, I was like, that looks like a house. And I grew up with my mom. She would buy these like abandoned houses. Like she bought the house that we lived in when I moved out here when I was in 8th grade was in Middleburg. And she bought this like gorgeous stone house that was on 10 acres. It had like a cottage house or a carriage house to the side of it.
Yeah.
And it was like abandoned and like gross. And she bought it for maybe like, I don't even know, like maybe 600,000 or 700,000, and redid it, turned it into something awesome. And she did that all the time. And so I was always around when like she'd be doing that, or like the worker, like, the contractors that she'd have working on the properties. And I'd be like, can I try, and like, I would be like out there with like cameras, and they were all like so cool, like really patient with me. And I was young. I was young. And so I saw that was a possibility. Yeah. And so then when I set this 3 to 5 year goal to have income properties, and I just kept, looking on the MLS, and then saw this opportunity come up. It had dropped down into my price point, and I had negotiated, my way down off of the list price, and this was in 2021, so I felt pretty good about that. And then, I turned the garage into my house, and
I love that for you. That's crazy.
Yeah,
and it's so freaking cute.
It's
I'm
cool.
gonna have to see because I'm picturing like a garage, just like a
I
really
know,
big
that
garage.
was-
You don't even know it. You can't even tell it was a garage.
Yeah.
Wow.
When Amanda and I was like, I gotta stop telling people this was a garage. It's like, yeah,
Please.
you really
Please.
do. Because that's what she said too. She's like, I can't even picture what you're talking about. And then when she came to it, she was like, this doesn't look like a garage at all. Because what it was like a 3-bay garage on the bottom.
Yeah.
And then you had an above garage apartment. And because of just the research from, what kind of plumbing you need, electric you need for like baths, kitchens, all of that.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, I can drop the kitchen down and I can move a bath or, put a bath here. And it was all learning on the fly, which is like incredibly frustrating and long and tedious.
Yeah.
But as I was a special ed teacher. So, I sort of had patience with myself. My timelines are always off. If they say, I'd be like, Amanda, I'm going to get this done in like 3 months, a month. No.
That was 3 years ago.
Yeah. But it was only me and my boyfriend at the time who was, so helpful. And we just trudged through the trenches, and we had, the cottage was supposed to be fine. And I went down there and everything had to be redone. Like literally gutted that thing. I say we stripped that thing down like a dog that sniffed you out at the airport. Like, I know the ins. I know every piece of that house.
Every little crease.
Yeah. So, but it's been a great experience because I can walk into a house now and I can look around and kind of see like, okay, what is it? Like, where are the issues? What does it take to fix that up?
Yeah.
And either help calm clients down or be like,
tell
listen,
things, where you're like, no.
then that's
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
like I went into a house with a client one time and she was so pumped because she wanted to put an offer in on it. And immediately when I walk in, I see that there are structural issues because they had taken down a pillar that was actually structural support.
Oh, no.
And I could see the way that it was already bending. And I was like, that's not good. And she was like, well, what do you mean? And so I went downstairs. And like, if I go into a house too, the first place I'm going is like the crawl space or like,
oh God,
the
I'm
basement.
scared.
And I'm like, yeah, cool. You guys check out the color on the walls. I'll be right back.
Oh my God.
That's so true. We looked at a house in Front Royal recently for my husband and I to buy it as an investment property, and Tess went straight into the crawl space.
Girl. Like, look at that dark, dangerous
found
place.
a leak,
Let's
though.
go.
I was
mean,
like,
it was
look, there's a
leaky.
leak right here, and blah, blah. We're like following the
That's
plumbing.
smart.
We're like, oh, yeah,
Yeah.
it's coming from there. It hasn't been there that long. Like,
This is great because now you can look at the paint and she can go into like the little creepy
Yeah,
places.
exactly.
Duo.
Yep.
Dream
Yeah.
team. Perfect.
Amazing.
And now I'd like to ask you, what's with the necklace?
So funny you should ask.
Yeah.
So I have no idea what the symbol on the front means. It looks like it looks like a
like the Holiday Inn age.
what are they?
A bubbly star?
What are the constellations?
Orion?
For
Taurus?
Zodiac sign?
yes, thank
Oh.
you. God, thank you. But I don't think that's what it is.
Okay.
But there's a button on the back, and if I
Oh, that's what
if
you just
I
got.
if I double tap the button, it will call ADT 911.
Can I do it?
No,
No, what? No.
But yeah, it'll call 911 ADT. It will text Tess and my whole family
Holy moly.
and send them my location, and it will open the camera and the recording device on my phone.
What?
Isn't
Why
that
had I never-
amazing?
No.
I hadn't either. And my parents had gotten me a handgun years ago. But like when you're a realtor, like I go in with my phone and a business card, and that's it. I can lock and unlock my car with my phone.
Yeah.
I oftentimes, as a woman, don't have pockets. So, you have to carry everything with you, and it's annoying.
Yes.
And
And
so
people get
I
scared when she
need-
carries her gun in her hand.
I know. So if I'm just walking around with a pistol, that's going to be a problem.
It sure is. Oh
We
my
didn't
God.
go over the rules about like firearms and like talking about weapons on
Well,
here. So.
I would have a concealed carry permit, but at any rate,
Yeah.
so I had texted this to my parents. I was like, look how cool this is. And my parents were like, we're buying that right now.
for
Here.
you.
Yeah.
10.
And I was like, but you could, for my birthday. And they're like, no, here.
Here,
take
right
it.
now.
Yeah.
You need this now.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. What
So
is
it's
the name
like-
of this company? Let's plug it. Maybe they'll hear us and be like, ooh, let's send her some
Yeah.
swag or something.
It's called Invisaware.
Invisaware.
Yeah. And it's not, I think it was like $130.
That's not
for the
bad.
Necklace. And then you can do a subscription, which they did for me, but I don't think you need the subscription for it to just call 911 and text your friends.
Okay.
Or your emergency contacts or whatever. But amazing for realtors or anybody who is out in the field meeting randos in
Yeah.
dark houses.
She needs one. She's
With-
crawling into like creepy places.
I'm just
Nobody
scared.
would fuck with her.
I'm just terrifying.
Really?
Yeah.
You seem so friendly. I feel like someone could just easily kidnap you both.
Oh my God. We joke about this all the time. They would send us back.
Yeah.
They would be like, no, one of us would laugh and the other would fart. And
Oh,
then
yeah.
we would just, they would be like, no, you're too much work.
Yeah.
Send them back.
Send
Yeah.
them back. These two are
Give
whack.
them back. All right. Well, I guess
Yeah.
you don't need the necklace, girl.
No,
You
I
do.
don't know. I would push it too. I was.
I
Please
know,
don't
she
give her
would.
one.
She'd be
Never
like,
mind.
Yeah, I can't have a button on me. I'd be like this, playing with it all
What
the time.
does this button do?
And I'd be
I know.
like, beep 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 beep
It
beep.
is.
My
It's
dad,
a
like
little
all my family's
nerve-wracking.
in California, so it'd be her that like is my emergency contact. So she'd be like, "Will you stop?"
Stop pushing the button.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or if she didn't answer my phone call, I'd be like,
Oh my God. You are wild for that. They'd be like, just put her on the list. We know. She just
Exactly.
pushes the button.
It's like
Don't-
literally, it would be like the adult version of like the girl that cried,
Cried wolf. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, don't
Yeah.
do that, girl. You need your safety. You never know.
I
Don't get on
know.
the list.
Yeah.
And now I have a question for both of you. The Northern Virginia real estate market has its unique challenges
Mhm.
and opportunities. What trends are you currently observing, and how do you guide your clients to navigate them effectively?
Ooh.
I feel like it's kind of like all over the place. Like sometimes it's, you're getting like over asking, and then other times the houses are sitting. Like I don't, it's sort of like this in between from COVID and before COVID, in my opinion.
Well, and since COVID was what, 2020?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So now we're in 2025. So it's been almost 5 years. Every year has been distinctly different than the one prior, right? Because then you've got COVID, which everyone was like, well, I hate my house. I need more space.
Mhm.
And then it was, okay, interest rates are 3%. Now I'm going to buy something bigger just because I can. It's the same price, basically.
Or they were like, oh, all the prices are higher. There's this bubble. It's going to pop. Everybody was deferring back to like the 2005, 2006 crisis.
Yeah.
But they didn't really like the difference there was that, it's the internet is so great for information and knowledge for like the general public, but like also that's why you need the experts is
Mhm.
because that was an internal issue with like the lenders. And then that was
Right.
all
It can't happen again.
yeah, that was all sorted out because they put in guidelines and regulations. And what happened with COVID, I mean, it was a pandemic. So you have all of these houses that are like the prices are higher than what people are used to.
Mhm.
So they're like, oh, like I'm scared because I don't want the bubble to pop, like whatever.
Mhm.
And then, but your interest rates are awesome. And then it switches. So where it's like,
Mhm.
well, you guys, like that time period, I mean, all of our comps are to COVID prices. And then because of the way the economy works is, of course, interest rates were going to go up because it's sort of like, in my opinion, it's like when you use your credit card and you don't pay it off like every month, then your bill is higher, right?
Mhm.
And so then you have to make up for that by like saving somewhere. And so that's what the Fed had to do with like raising interest rates, from my understanding. And, it's like, oh, well, now we're waiting for interest rates to go down. And so now you're also seeing a surplus of renters, people that had sold their home to get the equity in, 2021, 2022. And then they're like, oh, we're going to rent and wait till the prices come down. And then it's
They're
like,
not coming down.
Yeah. And they're-
Newsflash.
and
They're not coming down.
Wake
they're
it up.
still renting because now it's like, oh, well, now we're going to wait for interest rates to come down. And it's
Also not coming
yes,
down.
yeah, it's not going to happen. It's not going to, they will like a little bit here and
Mhm.
there,
But
but
it's-
like,
We're never getting back to 3%.
right, we're
ever.
at the average of like what
Yeah.
it was before COVID and stuff. And it's like, so those people that they just spent all their equity on renting. which I love because I love being a property manager and I love rentals. You know, and it's just as important to help your tenant clients as it is your buyers and sellers. But that's really what it did, is it spread the gap between homeowners and tenants.
Yep.
Well, I think the challenge right now is because of what the current administration is doing, there's a lot of uncertainty, particularly in the DMV. You know, I've talked to a lot of buyers in the last few weeks, and they're like, well, you know, we're going to wait to see what happens. There's going to be a massive exodus from DC. I'm like, okay, but let's couple that with the back to work, back to the office mandate. And so now you've got these people that have lost their jobs that are potentially moving out of the area, which I don't see that. I don't think that's going to happen to any major extent. And then you've got all these people that are like, I talked to a guy yesterday who was looking at condos in Arlington, and he lives in Palm Beach. He was like, well, if I have to come back to work, I have to have a place to live. It's like, well, funny how that works.
Yeah.
So you've got, you know, different tides pulling in different directions, but it all balances out. And this is the DMV. So we are protected in a lot of ways from things that happen in other parts of the country. This is the first time that I've seen something that is more impactful to the DMV than some of these broader market conditions. Like COVID had a massive effect on the market. The interest rates have a massive effect on the market. But this one is particularly, you know, traumatic for some DC or, you know, DMV residents.
Yeah.
But I don't think that it's going to have a major impact because there's no inventory right now. There's nothing. And there are tons and tons and tons of buyers who are ready to pull the trigger, but there's nothing for them to buy.
Yeah.
So hopefully, you know, there is somewhat of an exodus so that we can get some of these buyers into places.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, we're just spinning our wheels.
Yeah, no.
I think there's like a lot of good opportunity though, because there are areas like, you know, like Loudoun that they're like doing the slow growth thing. And so they're not, you know, putting up new houses very frequently, or if they are, it's a very controlled, you know, manner. But then you've got like West Virginia, that's really not that far away, that they are pro-growth. So they're like putting up houses left and right. So they're creating a little bit more inventory, but you know, for as realtors, like, and, you know, a team like us, like, you know, being dynamic and being able to touch on all those spots and kind of think outside the box of like, okay, like, well, what can we offer people, or what can we, you know, educate them on different areas that might not be as reputable right now. They might not be those super hot spots, but with the knowledge that we have about what's happening in different areas, it's like, you know, being able to talk to why that would maybe be a good place to look at. Or like Front Royal is like got some great properties that has like a lot of land, and they are, you know, wanting to grow. And same with you know, even out like in Winchester, like near me and
Winchester.
stuff. Yeah.
There's a chocolate factory coming.
Yeah.
What?
Yes.
Like a big one? Like it's going to be like Willy Wonka?
I mean, I don't know my chocolate factory so well, but I can't imagine it would be tiny.
Right?
Yeah.
That's cool. Do you know, is it going to be like Hershey, or is it just like a local one? Or
No, it's. Did you recognize
No.
the name of it? I didn't either.
No.
Okay,
She
cool.
said
It's
she had, like,
chocolate. Who
11
cares?
o'clock at night. She was like, Winchester's getting a chocolate factory.
But it means jobs.
Yeah, there we go.
So
And
Amazon-
children.
There's an Amazon distribution center in Winchester now, you know, so it's like all these areas that used to be kind of like, and
And
What?
still are. In some
yeah,
ways.
in people's minds, like they're actually, you know, they're starting to come up, and it's kind of cool to see that. But it also boils down to preference too, right? Like, so if people really want that one zip code, or, you know, whatever it might be, but also it's up to us to kind of promote the different areas and what's going on in the market holistically.
And understand the difference between those areas. So,
Yeah.
like, I own a triplex in Front Royal.
How'd you find that, by the way? That was so weird.
Besties.
My bestie Tessie found it for me.
She was like, I'm looking for this and I can't find anything for like 5 minutes right before lunch. I was like,
Yeah, literally. She was like, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
boom. I was like, okay. And I didn't even look at it. She did. I was on vacation when.
Wow. Now that's a bestie.
Anyway, yes. But understanding different markets within the DMV. like Front Royal, for example, I renovated one of the units when the last tenant moved out. It's like, okay, what am I putting in here? Like, these people don't expect, stainless steel appliances and granite countertops and, anything top of the line, really. I mean, it was new floors, windows that actually function so they don't, die. And just understanding that, like, there's no air conditioning, and that's pretty normal for Front Royal. But setting expectations and understanding that, like, you don't want to over improve anything based on the market because you're not going to get it back.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's about knowing what to improve and what not to, like what the priorities are. So like when it comes to rental properties for like investors, sometimes investors will be like, they go in with their own taste, right? And they're like, oh, I want this, that, and the other, but they don't realize that they're not going to get a return on that. And that, when you have tenants,
they don't care.
Well, they do care, but the biggest thing that they care about is literally one of the only perks about renting is that you have somebody else take care of your shit, right?
Yeah.
So like if something breaks, you don't have to worry about scheduling contractors to come in and fix it. You don't have to worry about like replacing it. Now at times, like you'll have a property man, and for me personally, as a property manager and a landlord, like what is most important to me is that my tenants feel comfortable and safe in their homes, and that they feel like they're living in a place that they are proud to show off to family, that they could like bring somebody, and that, is kind of, it's important, but that's really important. But in order to do that, you also have to budget for like, if your return is a couple $100s a month, like for a rental, and you're working with an investor and they're like, oh, we want to get this, that, and the other, like as a realtor, we have to guide them to be like, okay, but listen, $300 a month, like on your return, 300 to 500, right? Like that's a decent return for a rental. Mine produce way more than that, but
Mine do,
Just saying.
But that's, if you have a hot water heater break, that's a $5,000 repair.
Oh yeah.
So you're budgeting for like a year. So if you're spending, $1,200 on a fridge or whatever, or if you're trying to be chintzy on your insurance, like, always get that insurance, man. Like I've had, and so I don't know, I'm kind of rambling about that, but knowing the market and knowing your clients and knowing what they're looking for, right?
Yeah.
So if it's like a single family or an investor or somebody looking for a second home, like how to properly educate and guide, without like closing them off or shutting them down on their ideas or
Absolutely.
And not sugarcoating things.
No.
I had a
I hate
client,
that.
we looked at two houses. One was basically a teardown in Fairfax. The other was a beautiful single family home in Round Hill. And he was like, but the Fairfax one, I could, keep the foundation and just build up and build back. And I was like, listen, you're looking at least $500,000 to get something decent. It's not going to be great. And we're already listed at 565, I think. Plus, you are competing against all of the other investors in the area who are paying cash, and you don't stand a chance in hell at getting this. I'm happy to help you, but I also want you to be realistic in what you're asking for.
I love that.
Also, we're looking at a year plus timeline. By the time you secure permits, find a builder, get through the whole build process, like, is that what you want?
And you always add at least 6 months to a big renovation.
Or in Tess's case, 3 years.
Well, I did it by myself. But I've also found some really good contractors, which have been amazing. And that is also kind of, I think, one of our PowerPoints is we have a network that is crucial. Like we're so different in so many ways.
Toot that horn.
But also so much alike. Like I think on our foundation and our value system and the service we provide to our clients.
Yes, I love that. That's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you guys came on this podcast. I love it.
I'm going to be cringy at like watching it.
Oh my God.
But that's what I think is really cool is again, like sort of like Amanda's a little bit more posh and polished. I am not. I'm usually in like
yin
a
and
hoodie
yang.
and jeans
I
and
think the
work
first
boots.
like Tess and I hung out, she had paint in her hair,
100%.
or
I have
or
paint on
on
my
her
fingernails right
hands.
now.
she regularly
Not nail
hurts her-
polish paint. I have.
Yeah, she regularly hurts herself and then
Oh,
yep.
fixes it with super glue.
I drilled into my
With
wrist
super-
the other day
Girl.
by accident. I fixed it with super glue though. It works.
The
It's
fact
the
that she
best.
has not died of
Something.
meningitis, sepsis,
Tetanus.
tetanus.
Her kids,
It's
I'll go over to her
really
kids' house and
amazing.
they're like, "Oh, did you hurt yourself again?" I'm like, yeah, like
Even they know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Girl. Well, be careful.
Well, I am.
It's a dangerous world out there for you.
Or don't, because I'm
Or-
in your will, so.
YOLO. You only
Yeah.
live once.
The
Yeah.
will you don't have.
Yeah. I texted Amanda the other day after I was drilling a pocket hole into this like railing for this board for my railing because I'm getting ready to close out my final permits for my house, 3 years later, which my inspectors I freaking love. That's another, again, it's so offbeat, right? Like my approach to all of this. And Amanda was like, Jesus, when are you going to just do real estate full time? And I was like, but this is good because I'm learning so much. And she's like, oh my God. And it's
In that voice too. Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
it's so true though, because like even my the building inspectors for Clark County, I love.
She knows them all by name.
I know
Oh my
every-
goodness,
yeah.
girl. Okay.
They're great. Like they come over, they're like, seriously, Tess, and I'm like, okay, I know, I'll do it better next time. But everything's to code. But I forget what I was saying. I was doing the
Drilling
pocket
your
hole.
hand.
Oh
She
yeah, I was drilling in a pocket hole.
texted me that you
And
need
I
a
texted her.
will.
I was like, "Hey, I really need to you're gonna be my
Yeah.
will person."
She's like,
here."
if I die, I don't have a will. Just take care of it.
Oh
Yeah.
my goodness,
Okay,
girl.
I
Go
got
see a
you.
lawyer, please.
Yeah.
I know. I was like,
Get that
fixed.
fixed.
Legal Zoom.
That's it. I was like, "No, I'm doing this pocket hole."
Now, Haven Homes emphasizes using innovative technologies to enhance the real estate experience. Can you tell us about some of the tech tools you utilize and how they've transformed the way you serve your clients?
Sure. There are a couple. I think one of the coolest things that we do for all of our clients is HomeBot. So once a client closes, we put their information into HomeBot. So it's their address, and if we want, we can put their lender financial information in there, interest rate, all of that. And it sends a monthly report, and it tells you how much equity you have. You can make manipulations to the data to show, like, okay, if I paid an extra $200 a month, that means I would pay off my house in X number of years versus 30. It will tell you, like, how much equity you have and what you could use that equity for. You could buy a vacation home, or you could refinance and pull money out. But it just gives you a really good in-depth understanding of the financial aspect of owning a home.
Yeah.
And what changes in that look like in terms of, buying, selling, investing.
And all the different variables in the market. So like if you had a certain amount of equity in your home and your interest rate was blah 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 and rates came down, they
If
can
you
help
refinance,
you. Yeah. And then you
what
can
does that
also,
look like?
be like, oh, if you wanted to do a renovation, like what, after talking to us and everything, we could say, okay, well, this could potentially bring up your property value by X amount.
So it's and we partner with Jeremy Kendall from Atlantic Coast on that.
He better freaking love us.
He does.
I actually have the box of tools for him in my car.
Of course you do. Now
He
he's
just-
gonna listen to this, and
He's not going to listen to it. He's in Cancun.
I think he's fine.
Oh.
But anyway.
Is this live
So,
right now?
No, it's not live.
Oh,
I know.
No.
I was
guess
like,
that's true.
Jesus.
So that's one of the things that we use. And I get phone calls, text messages, emails from clients all the time. They're like, this tool is so cool. I'm like, I know. I use it for my own properties.
It's very cool.
I love it. Yeah. So that's one. We do Client Giant, which isn't necessarily a tech tool, but we set up all of our buyers on it. And so they get little gifts throughout the transaction, including moving boxes, like Advil and tea and, little things to make the
Yeah.
process less stressful.
Mhm.
And then after that, and they get a closing gift and all that. But then they get quarterly gifts from us. And they're usually they're really cool things. Like this quarter, it's little wooden appetizer plates.
Yeah.
That, every homeowner entertains at some point.
Yes.
They're great to have. So just little things like that keep us top of mind.
I love that.
continually. We have a very incredibly robust CRM system. So it'll tell us like, hey, so-and-so has a birthday coming up. Make sure you call and send a card. And this person's home anniversary is coming up. Or this person clicked on 3 links. Or this person favorited a property. Or they looked at this property 5 times. Like maybe they want to see it. You know, little things like that we're constantly like, hey, I saw that you were checking out this property. Do you want to take a look at it?
Y'all are on top of it.
Try to be.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No, I love how you're using technology to like better enhance the client experience.
It does creep some people out though.
Oh.
Which
You're
I
like,
love.
who is this again?
I know. They're like, how did you know?
Of course you love.
I'm like,
I'm
don't worry
Amanda.
about it. I know everything. I'm under your bed.
911, please. No, that's incredible.
Hold please. Let me just
Yeah.
double tap.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
really double tapped that.
I didn't.
I hope you did.
No. Oh my, see
I
this
will.
girl, she wants
I know.
911
I
here for
know.
some
God.
reason.
In the police show.
You told me you have a button on your neck and it's this big shiny thing. Seriously? Like, what's wrong with you?
I know. I have to keep it away.
Like hide it some days from her.
Well, definitely from her, but also from my kids. I keep it. Yeah, I keep it in a locked.
Oh,
jewelry
Harp would be
box.
all over that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now
see?
is sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just Harper would be like, see.
And now, is there anything that I have not touched on that perhaps you guys want to get out there? Maybe you have new systems that you will be bringing in place now that you're working together, or a new service, or maybe something. You're writing a book. Maybe you guys are going to start your own podcast.
Writing a book. That's what we're doing.
I don't know.
The
can't
Tales
even
of Tess and
read.
Amanda.
No, we have talked about doing a podcast, and I think it would be hilarious.
You should.
But I want to do like we're in the car together. Like
That would be, yes, that would grab
we
people's
will
attention.
wreck and die.
Okay, yeah,
We're gonna
never
crash and
mind.
burn. Yeah.
Do not do it.
We would need a driver.
Yeah, I don't think. Okay, one thing I am going to put this out there.
Do it.
Because then it means we have to do it. We have got to do a client appreciation event
Yeah.
in the next few months because we have not done one in a couple years.
And you know what I've really wanted to do is, again, because my background has been in education for the last 9 years, is I'm all about, again, educating people on the process and just walking them through it. And as a special ed teacher, I have an incredible amount of patience and just understanding for different learning styles.
Guess who doesn't have patience?
Yeah.
I'm going to guess you.
So, and for me, I just I have said with the renovations, I learned things the hard way. I just jump in and I'm going to figure it out. And so to be able to offer the experience of even the home renovations, little DIY projects that people can do, or ways to save money if they're doing a big renovation, the things to really spend money on, things that you can, kind of do a less expensive route on.
Yeah.
To get the most return.
Learned from
and
some of the mistakes that
for sure
we've made.
Yeah.
Oh.
And just even with, purchasing and what, my little tagline is don't stress, call Tess.
I love, that's good. That's a good one. What about yours? Where's yours? Amanda.
The Afanda of Amanda.
The Afanda.
Afanda of Amanda.
That'll work.
Yes. We
But
should carry around Fanta.
oh, a fan. I'm a big fan of a man.
Oh, y'all are wild. I love it.
But I would like to do that sometime.
Yes.
But I get nervous, obviously.
Don't be nervous. I can't imagine you nervous at this point anymore.
I'm sweating so much right now.
What? You don't
I
look
can
like it.
smell her from here.
Oh my gosh. I have some perfume.
Bro,
You can spritz some
I'm
later.
perfumed up. I have lavender deodorant on right now. You want to smell it? It smells
No.
phenomenal. Well, you brought it up. You did want to smell it.
Maybe it's me. No, it's not. I showered last night and I'm spritzed up. So there's no way.
You're all spritzed and fancy.
That's right. All right. So looking ahead, scratch that. Looking ahead, what are your joint goals for your real estate partnership, and how do you envision the future of your collaboration together?
I really want her and Ben to get divorced and we could get married.
Oh.
What?
Oh.
Oh.
Should I tell her the story of the time you spent the night?
Oh my God.
Yes. You already said that. You have to tell me.
So my husband travels for work sometimes. So this week, for example, he's in Orlando. And I've got 2 kids, and our guest room is in the basement.
It's terrifying. There's no
It
windows.
is. There's
Don't
no
you love that?
windows.
No, I
You
hate
sleep
it.
like a champ.
I have to
though.
see the sky. My whole, because it was a garage, I have sliding glass doors, big windows everywhere on my bottom floor.
Okay.
And essentially anywhere that I'm sitting or laying down, I can see the sky. So
That's
in a
true.
dungeon hole, I
Can't
don't
see
feel
that in
comfortable.
my guest room.
Yeah, no.
So
Just
my
this.
kids don't like it when they go to bed and I'm not upstairs. So Tess will often spend the night when my husband is away, which sounds
Don't even start.
it's there's nothing. With
Stop,
friends.
you're gonna make it
I know.
weird.
I'm
Hey,
sorry,
no
I made it
judgment.
weird.
She
I've
already
already made it
made it
weird.
No
Yeah.
judgment.
So anyway, she spent the night and we were watching TV in my room and she's laying in my
Why are we doing
bed.
this? Why are we talking about
And
this?
I don't know. I know I should stop talking, but you're making me tell this story.
No, I want to hear it.
know.
Keep going. Don't stop.
So one of my youngest daughter, Harper, came in. She was probably 7 or 8 at the time. And she...
First of all, okay, I'm gonna cut this off. Like, so we're joking around, and I don't like the dungeon hole. And
Joking
then
around.
Well, like, in the bed. What?
What?
No,
You
That's
made
what
it
I'm-
worse.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, I'm just saying, I was spending the night. Her husband's out of town. She's like, hey, can you spend the night? Like, do you want to spend the night out here? Because I live an hour away from her. And so I was like, sure. And then I don't like the dungeon hole. And she's like, you can just sleep in my room. And I was like, okay. And I'm like on Ben's side of the bed. And like, we're not touching. And I'm
We're
like,
watching
ugh.
a show.
Yeah, we're watching a show. And I'm like already
It's a king-size
uncomfortable.
bed.
Yeah. And I'm already uncomfortable because I've got like, I feel like I'm laying in like Ben's, dead skin flakes. And like his dumb Android charger is next to me.
Oh,
And
not
I'm like,
Android.
I mean, I love
know,
Android.
right?
No, I'm just kidding. I don't care. Well, I just like to give Ben a hard time. But I'm sitting there feeling all awkward and stuff. And then we start watching something, and her daughter comes in, and
She just like does a double take.
yeah, she's like, why are you in Daddy's spot? And I was like, and then Amanda was like, this is gonna scar. And I was like, no. Why am I saying this now? I wanted this conversation to stop. I want a new story.
Yeah, but
It wasn't anything weird.
it wasn't
Sure.
weird. But then I was
Okay.
thinking about it from her
She's like,
perspective.
sure, yeah, whatever.
From my child's perspective, and she's gonna have this memory
Oh,
of
God.
walking in her parents' bedroom,
Thinking mom and dad.
seeing her mom's friend in bed with her mom.
I hate every moment of this.
I know, and it sounds so awful, but it was
But
so
it wasn't
innocent.
even-
It wasn't,
like,
it wasn't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we were just
people-
like hanging out
yeah.
watching TV because
But
my
then
kids,
Amanda made it awful because then she brought it up right after I was like settling into, Ben's dead skin flakes. And I was like, okay, this is fine. And then she's like, man, we just scarred Harper. And I was like, I'm going back to the hole, the dungeon hole. I'll sleep
back
down
to your hole.
there.
I don't think there's anything wrong. Like I've
There's
slept.
not anything.
I know.
wrong
slept
with
in
it.
my
She's
girlfriend's
always
bed.
weird.
It's fine. I can
did.
see how,
I
especially when you
love-
got your like kiddos, and it's just like,
Yeah.
oh,
No,
I
and
love
I'm
to
a
make
cuddler.
things really
Yeah, don't do
awkward.
that.
I think that's why, actually, now that I said that out loud, that's probably why, is because I'm a cuddler. Like, I was holding her hand earlier, and, like, there's nothing weird about that for me.
why are you guys giving me like Ariana Grande and I can't remember her Cynthia, and they're like, hold my
Yes.
finger.
Yes.
You guys are giving me that vibe right now.
Oh, the
Wicked.
girls on Wicked?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, sort of.
Pull
That
my
makes
finger.
sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. You want to pull my finger?
I don't
I
want to
dare
pull your
you.
finger.
Oh, please, not here,
I
ladies,
know
not
what
here.
you're capable of.
Oh my gosh.
But I think that's why I'm a cuddler. Like, me and my kids, we are constantly cuddling and all the time. And
Yeah.
and
And I'm the
she's
opposite.
not.
I'm
went
like,
I'm the
on a-
opposite too. I
don't-
can't do that.
Really?
Like, don't touch.
Oh, I am
Yeah.
we went to a horse camp one time together,
Yes.
and we were talking about like horse etiquette, and Amanda asked, like, they were like, you've got to like be aware. The lady that was running it was like, you got to be aware of like your space or like whatever. And Amanda's like, what do you mean by that? And I was like, well, like, you know how you're uncomfortable when I do this? And I like gave her a big bear hug, and she was like, please get off me right now. I was like, I'm just gonna stay here a little bit longer.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I loved hearing all these stories, horse etiquette, awkward moments in the
Listen.
bed.
Oh,
We do all things together.
Yeah. Real estate. I love it.
Yeah.
Any last parting words?
I'm
Don't judge us.
sorry.
I'm sorry.
we know what we're doing when it comes to real estate in the market.
Yes.
We're weird. We'll have fun, and we'll get it done.
We will definitely have fun.
boom.
Yes.
We'll get
we're
it done.
weird.
We'll
We're
have
fun.
fun.
We'll get it done.
Yeah. We're
Save that
weird,
one. It's
we're-
recorded.
What?
No, this is recorded in case you
Oh,
forget.
Yeah. Say
Oh.
it again.
That's catchline.
We're
We're
weird.
weird,
We're
we'll have-
fun. We'll get it done.
We're weird. We'll have fun, but we'll get it done.
We gotta.
Let's
work on
think
that.
this through. Yeah.
Don't stress, call Tess, and be a fan of a man.
Duh. I love it. Thank you so much. I appreciate
Thank
you both
you.
coming
This
here
was
today.
fun.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah.